Hello, everyone. Welcome to our podcast, Discover AIG Multinational in Latin America. My name is Eric Ramos, Head of Multinational for Latin America and the Caribbean. If you want to know more about captive solutions, stay tuned. Today's episode will be about captive retention strategies. But before we get to that, I would like to introduce our guest, Gerardo Rebollar, CEO of Highland Mexico. Welcome, Gerardo. It's really a pleasure having you here. And please let us know about your experience and, of course, all Highland capabilities and captives.
Okay, thank you very much, Eric. And it's my pleasure to be here with you and obviously supporting AIG as much as we can. Highland is a well-known broker in the U.S., but Highland Mexico is the first operation of Highland outside of the United States. Highland has been out in the market in the U.S. for 90 years. It's in the fourth generation of the Highland family. And I was lucky enough to find the family and partner up with them. So my family partnered up with the Highland family, and jointly we opened Highland Mexico 2 years ago. We have an insurance and surety bond broker in Mexico and a risk management services company. So we do a lot of consulting work here, and of course supporting the captives as much as we can.
Thank you, Gerardo. Awesome. In your view, how are companies in Latin America approaching to risk management and comparing this to maybe 10 or 20 years ago?
Okay. I'm old. If you're asking that question, that means yes, I've been in the market for over 20 years now. And certainly I have seen changes, and I think changes that are good for our industry. What I've seen in the upper middle market and the large corporations is that they more and more are paying attention to risk management. Now, they are shifting from insurance buyers to a more strategic risk management analysts, let's say. So it is good for us to see that boards of directors are elevating the relevance of this type of positions, and they're making stronger and stronger efforts to actually align risk management strategies with the overall company strategies. That means risk management is becoming I would say, a key role in more companies than it was in the past, I think.
That's interesting, but because, thinking about risk management is talking about a long-term strategy. So it's not easy to communicate and to really embrace that type of purpose, of idea between the companies. How are companies doing that? How are risk managers dealing internally with that, with the stakeholders?
It is true. And I would say maybe there are two types of risk managers. The ones that I hired that come from the insurance industry, that obviously they play with a bit of advantage there because they already know. And the risk managers that have been performing other types of activities within a company on the finance team or on the legal team, and they are in a learning curve. But I think in both cases that there's always a chance to learn. Not everyone, no one actually knows everything, and what they are now doing, they're coming to us to ask for the tools, to ask to ask the question of how can they literally build that long-term strategy. It's not a matter of buying insurance anymore. It's a matter on how we generate enough information to build a long-term plan and ultimately buy insurance or build whatever strategy you need to build. That could end up with a captive.
Correct. Very interesting. With respect to, and as you said, with respect to risk retention strategies, which questions are we trying to answer, and how does captives fit into that?
The key question to ask yourself is whether your risk management strategy is aligned with the overall strategy of the company. That's for me, it's basic because in the past, the risk manager would only be concerned about paying lower premiums rather than how am I adding value to the overall strategy of my company. So the first question would be that, but together with that, maybe coming more technical, you need to ask yourself, what is my risk-bearing capacity? Now, that type of analysis that we at Highland perform is that we go to your balance sheet, we understand all your assets and the liquidity or the potential liquidity of your assets in order to therefore say, okay, in the event of a loss, if you didn't have any insurance whatsoever, what could I bear? No? And once you understand what you can bear in terms of risk, then you can build a proper risk management strategy. So that is key. Now you need to understand also the total cost of risk that you're currently handling. Now, it's not only the amount of premium that you pay, it's also the retentions that you're bearing. It's also the co-insurance that you have, the losses that you're paying, the loss prevention. That everything it's within that total cost of risk. So the more you understand yourself, the better strategy you'll be able to build.
Very interesting. Would you say captives are a good fit for any company? If that's the case, how should companies prepare in order to start really setting up a captive?
It can be a good fit. I mean, it's not for every company, but if a company, as long as they sort of have a premium spent of around $1 million, that'll financially $1 million worth of premium. It's like the threshold that you need to have in order to make it financially feasible. If you're a company that already is there in that level of premium spent, then you can start strategizing around how to reach that point. So how can you prepare to get there? Understanding yourself, as I mentioned. No, you need to understand your loss records. No, if you're going to set up a captive for a line of business where you're having losses all the time, then it wouldn't make sense. However, if you analyze your loss record plus some actuarial analysis in terms of what the volatility could be in the future, then you can think and say, okay, I might retain more through a captive with all the potential benefits attached that a captive would have. But certainly you would be able to do that. No, so
you would say that market conditions impact the possibility of creating a captive?
Oh, definitely, and market cycle, as you know, and we have actually seen that. As a few years ago, 5 years ago, we were living in a soft market. And once the market started to harden, we got more and more people coming in. Now we have a big team in the US, over 30 people running the Highland Global Captive Solutions team. And I can tell you that once they saw that rates were coming up so importantly, they started coming and say, okay, give me alternatives. No, and captive is like the first choice in that alternative in order to balance your premium spend and protect yourself against those increases in premiums.
Awesome. We're almost getting at the end of our episode, so I would like to hear your final thoughts, Gerardo.
Well, I would say, as I mentioned, I'm passionate about risk management. And I'm passionate about the challenge that it represents to put a captive as an ultimate goal in a risk management strategy. I'm not a big fan of jumping straight into the project because, again, in my personal point of view, you need to be more professional. You need to be to make more informed decisions about what you're doing. As I mentioned, it is not impossible to just jump in and set up the captive and that's it. But in my opinion, you have better chances of having a better future as a strategy in terms of risk management if you prepare and do all this previous analysis of where you're standing before going and presenting a business plan to your board.
Well, thank you, Gerardo. Thanks for being with us today in Discover AIG Multinational podcast series. Please don't forget to subscribe to our AIG Latin America YouTube channel in order to see the upcoming episodes. Thanks for listening and see you soon.